You led Ukraine through one of the most turbulent moments of the 2014 revolution there. And when you look at this current conflict that's going on right now, what do you believe is Ukraine's single greatest, I guess, strategic advantage right now? And what might be their single biggest concern or issue at this point?
First, thanks of having me. It's my privilege to talk to you. What is the biggest advantage? That we still exist, that we survived, this just terrible, traumatic, horrible war that Russia waged against Ukraine. This war, sir, has been going on for 11 years. Because maybe your audience is just thinking that Russia invaded Ukraine 3.5 years. It's true, it's so-called large-scale invasion. But initially, Russia occupied Crimea and illegally annexed Crimea in 2014. And then designated war criminal Putin sent its troops to the eastern part of Ukraine. So he expected that Ukraine is to fall. And the biggest achievement of Ukraine, is that we managed to withstand this kind of crazy drunk Russian bear with the nukes, sir, with an amazing amount of Soviet stockpiles, with 140 million people, which Putin believes they are not the population of Russia. They are just the cannon fodder.
Mm.
And what is the biggest advantage of Ukraine? That we are fighting like hell. And look, nobody expected that Ukraine is to survive. Nobody expected that Ukraine can fend off Russians. And even the US intelligence strongly considered an option that Putin is to take over Ukraine is just in just a few weeks.
Mm.
But look, we did it. We did it. The thing is that now, sir, we have to win this war. And we are far from that.
And that is my next question. You've been one of the strongest voices since this whole thing started. And yes, I've been following it since back in 2013 or 14. You've been one of the strongest voices advocating for stronger Western support for Ukraine. So how does that stand right now? Does that meet what you expected or what you thought could be done or think can be done still?
Let me put it this way. We are very, very grateful to the American people for the support they provided to Ukraine. If not the Ukrainian army and the US support and the support of the European Union, God knows what could happen. So we still need to get this support. The key precondition for Ukraine to win this war is to have a very high capacity to withstand Russian aggression. So it means that we need to get an additional security supplemental. We kindly request to get an additional ammo and financial support, and the secondary sanctions are needed. So, and a very strong unity between the United States and the European Union is needed, because let me give you a broader scope what's happening, and I will try to reach out to your audience. This war is more rather than just the war of Russia against Ukraine. This is the war of tyrants and dictators against the free world, against the leader of the free world, which I still believe is the United States of America. I still believe that you are able to lead this world, against your security, your prosperity, and your freedoms, and the Western-led global order. Or put it in a nutshell, Pax Americana. If Ukraine wins, the US would be the biggest beneficiary of this victory. If Ukraine fails, you can't even imagine what's going to happen in this world. This will embolden all dictators, and mainly China, to jump on the US.
So what then, speaking of the U.S. and the support and where the U.S. stands right now, the Trump factor, with Donald Trump returning to the White House, how does Kyiv view the future? How do you view the future of U.S. support, and what's your message to this administration?
Look, my message is as follows. your people, American people, elected the new administration and the new president, and we respect the will of the American people. Your president, it seems to me that he acted really in a good faith, thinking that he could get some kind of concessions out of the war criminal Putin, and that's the only reason why President Trump had this Anchorage meeting in Alaska. So he rolled out the red carpet. He did a limo sharing, reasonably expecting to get some kind of concessions out of Putin. But what happened in the end? Putin just overreached. Putin decided to play President Trump. He wants actually to humiliate President Trump. And I strongly believe that the President of the United States will never, never allow this to happen. And this is the very reason why President Trump was very clear after the UNGA, it's United Nations General Assembly,
Hmm.
posting a clear message on his Truth Social saying that, look, Ukraine can regain the territory. So he made a U-turn.
Yeah.
Now what is needed, sir? We need real actions,
Yeah.
real deliverables.
Yeah. So we have a short amount of time. I've got a couple of more questions to ask you, but the key one here is NATO and EU, the path. Ukraine's NATO and EU aspirations are central, are key, after so many promises, but few guarantees. So where do you think that stands?
Oh, I can tell you where this stands. Under the latest polls, which I brought to DC, more than 80% of Ukrainians support NATO and EU membership. So nothing has changed among the Ukrainian population. Going back to the NATO issue, there are different, rumors and even statements that it's not the right time to make Ukraine a NATO member state. And some folks even say that there is no way that Ukraine, I mean, our Western friends, there is no way that Ukraine is to become the NATO member state. But here is the thing. In 2008, there was a legally binding decision in Bucharest to make Ukraine a full-fledged NATO member state. And no one, just
Mhm.
no one, has canceled this decision. So the time will come when Ukraine will be both NATO and the European member states. But here is the thing. What is needed? We need to win this war.
Okay.
And
So,
have you seen the latest polls of Harris and Harvard
uh,
University?
no.
Have you seen them? Oh gosh, I'm gonna share with you the numbers. Could you
Okay.
imagine that 72% of Democrats and 73% of Republicans of GOP support Ukraine and support an idea to deliver ammo to Ukraine? It is a huge change. It is a
Yeah,
huge
certainly.
change.
Certainly, considering the other problems, political problems that the Democrats and the Republicans have right now, that is remarkable. Thank you. One other thing I would like to ask you, the long game, Russia, Vladimir Putin, survival. Can he do that? Can Russia continue? I mean, how does Russia get out of this? Because my sources have been telling me Russia can't win this war. What they've been trying to do is to find a way out. So, what do you think is the exit route, or is there one?
Putin, he is obsessed with Ukraine. It's his personal trauma. He has lost Ukraine a number of times. In 2004, during the Orange Revolution, in 2014, after the Revolution of Dignity, and in 2022, when he expected to have this kind of blitzkrieg. So whether Putin is still able to prosecute the war, yes, he is. And I want to be very clear. We are not allowed to be in any kind of complacency mode. He still has 140 million of population. He has nukes. He has an enormous resources, and he gains around 130 billion dollars from his hydrocarbons into his budget. And he has the closest ally, which is China, that is providing a lifeline to Russia, and which is an accomplice to this war. So he can prosecute the war, but we can stop him because compare the strength and the might of the free world and Russia. Oh, give me a break. Russia's economy is less than Texas, an entire Russia. Could you imagine that? So
Yeah.
the only thing which is needed, sir, it's our strong and bold actions, decisive actions,
Hmm.
and guts.
Hmm. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
We will win. We will win this war. We will restore the global order. And it's in the very national security interest, in the vital national security interests of the United States to make Ukraine to win this war. You guys going to be stronger after our victory.